side by side with those moments was 20 years of abuse. I mean, abuse from multiple sources, sometimes at the same time. I had a father who was the kind of dude who wouldn't let his kids cut their hair. We had to look a certain way, dress a certain way, act a certain way. I clearly fit into that. But I had my mom there to protect me. And my mom took the brunt of his abuse for us for a lot of the times. I watched terrible things. I watched him use bow and arrows to try and shoot at my mother's head. I watched him pin her up by her neck against the wall. This is stuff that I grew up with. Didn't think very differently about. He kicked my sister. He threw frozen rabbit water bottles at me. He cut my leg all the way down. It was harsh. When we left my father, things were harsh, but in a different way. My mother was suffering from post-traumatic stress. She was taking it out on her kids. It got worse and worse and worse, and she became the new abuser. She brought on stepfathers. They were abusive. They would frequently grab me by my shirt, hold me up to their face, scream and yell at me. I can't remember a day where I wasn't yelled at. Literally every day, sometimes multiple times a day, being yelled at. And that's crazy. That's crazy. On top of that, I was made examples of by my teachers. As someone who was doing things wrong, different. I literally had a teacher in one of my performing arts classes get me to stand there while every single one of the students, by their instruction, told me what was wrong with me. I had bullies from peers. Of course I did. Of course I did. I mean, I was moderately asking for it, I guess, by being different, but it didn't help. I got made fun of for literally every part of my body. I can name what people said about me. For everything that my voice, everything that I said, every idea I had, I've been made fun of. There's not a single part of me that hasn't been destroyed in some way. I had multiple boyfriends be abusive towards me. I've been raped. I've been sexually assaulted. I've been harassed. I've been beat up in the street by random people, just to add some more stuff on there. And to top it all off, toward the end of that 20 years, when some more of those abuses had fallen away and thought I had a way out, or that life was going to get better for me, I ended up having another boyfriend who systematically destroyed my life on purpose. And I say this not in a metaphorical sense or I think he was doing this sense. I say this in a he had a file on his computer detailing how to do it sense. He would tell me that the best way to abuse a woman is to accuse her of abuse first, to isolate her. And in that sense, he was making it so that I would get punishment for being an abuser while being abused. I'm just going to let that sink in for a second because there are still people who believe him, despite me having files on files of evidence. So for my life, up until now and continuing from now, I live as both abused and technically abuser because of him. So I know what it's like to be on both sides. I also know what it's like to be a bystander and watch my friends be abused. There's no end to the amount of shit and trauma and darkness and crap that I have seen from humans in this world. I have watched people think that they're helping, go for marches to help, and be the same people who look at me when I needed help and say, if you just change your mind about things, you could really change your world. Or, it must be some karma from a past life. Or, well, did that really happen, or is it just kind of some delusions in your head from all the mental health issues, from all the trauma, from all the years? Because the thing is that as the abuse compounded, people started looking at me like a parasite, or a leper, or some awful disease that also shouldn't be looked at that way, by the way. I started being this beacon of negativity that people didn't even want to get near me to help me, as if my life and my trauma was going to rub off of me onto them and ruin their lives. So they stayed away. I have lists upon lists of reasons why people didn't help. And in fact, out of all the trauma and abuse that I've had in my entire life, the worst part was watching people not help for the sake of their own opportunity. The number of times that has happened is insane. People will go out for a march for domestic violence, and then they come back and their friend is accused of abusing, and they go, well, I've known them too long, it couldn't possibly be them. They'd say the same stereotypical lines that they fight against in their Facebook posts. Some dark shit. But the thing, so I'm not actually going to talk about the specifics of any one of those traumas. I have like 10 minutes and it's probably counting down by now. Is that what bothered me the most, and what then became kind of a light both for my healing and for understanding the nature of how this stuff works in the world and potentially how we can change it, is that I discovered that for me what I was seeing was actually an issue brought on by oversimplification and compartmentalization. Because the joys in my life were being used to undermine my abuses, and my abuses were being used to undermine my joys, and nobody could fathom that somebody could actually be happy or joyful and also have so much pain. Nobody could fathom that someone can be in so much pain and also be capable of true joy. No one could fathom the nuances of trauma and abuse. They had to find a box to put you in, some specific part or chapter of a textbook. It doesn't work that way. So for me to heal, I started reintroducing in every part of my life nuance, complexity. I started seeing the parts in my mind that was trying to fit everybody into little boxes, and everything, every complex topic into little boxes. I started seeing the parts in my mind that were conflating complex with too difficult to handle. Because we live in a society that's all about simplify, simplify, simplify. This is the way to de-stress. But simplifying causes more stress, or at least in my opinion, it does. Because we see ourselves get so wrapped up when we hit a person or a topic that doesn't fit into our boxes that we activate and we freak out and we stress out and we can't breathe anymore because we're trying so hard to simplify. For what? Peace? For me to find peace, I had to recognize that my joys were my joys. That every weird part of me that didn't fit into a box was proper me. And subsequently, these are the same parts of my character that I'm proudest about. The same things that I got bullied for, I am proudest about because they're me. They're me, guys. I mean, what do I do for a living now? I do witchcraft. Straight up. Yeah, I went there. Of course I did. Look at my track record. I was going to go somewhere weird. Now we're just rolling with it. And my abuses and my traumas, I'm still that though. Like, I'm standing up here and I'm joyful and I'm happy and I'm exuberant, and sometimes I'm too much joy for people to handle. I'm really out there, like, woo! But I have all that trauma and all that pain, and that's still a part of me. I still get extremely passionate about those topics. They're still a part of me. You can't take those traumas and use them to undermine the character of who I am like you can with anyone else. You can't. No one should have that happen to them, in my opinion, from what I've learned. You know, it's about walking in a kind of liminal space. It's about recognizing that this world is so much bigger. Again, Same thing from my childhood. The world is so much bigger. People are so much bigger. That they're worth more thought and more love and more attention than you think you have capacity for. I actually don't think I have anything more to say than that, because that pretty much sums up everything for me.